Hello, mysterious person behind the screen. Happy Halloween. Now, it's this time of year where we celebrate all things evil. Now, I know I should probably put on a Heath Ledger Joker voice, but this was the only mask I could find, and it fits with everything else. So, happy Halloween. Today we're going to be looking at a story that is truly, terrifyingly awful. The Hive. Now, where to begin with the Leisure Hive? It's just me, by the way. Where to begin? How awful is this? From the start, hold on. From the start, we can see, from the start, just the opening shot, we can see how bad this is going to be. 2 minutes of just panning across Brighton Beach. Now, I know Brighton Beach is lovely. I'm not disputing that. But all you needed is 10, maybe 15-second shot of panning along. Then you see the TARDIS and the Doctor laying in his deck chair. Then zoom in. That's it. You don't need a giant panning shot of it just to show off the location, JNT. And his whole thing with this story is it needed to be like fresh and different and new. It needed to be as different as possible from what came before. Now it is different because it's so freaking dull. It is just one of the dullest things I have ever watched. Everything from the production design to the alien civilization, to the creature, to the whole plot is just completely just boring and dull, and it's so unmemorable. It's so unmemorable. The only real thing that I could remember from this was Tom Baker aging, that hilarious cliffhanger from part 1, and K9 blowing up in the water. It's awful. It's awful. I hate this with every fibre of my being. I want to use this disc as a coaster. I want to use it as a coaster. I hate this so much. I want to snap it. I want to burn it. I want to burn it so much. I hate it. But I must keep it for the collection. And let's talk about that part 1 cliffhanger, by the way. For those of you who don't know, the Doctor goes into this machine, and on the monitor it shows his body being separated from himself, leaving just his floating head. He looks round, goes, ah! The head comes towards the camera, and in his mouth is the end title sequence. I cannot make that shit up. Really? He doesn't even do a, epic scream. He doesn't go, ah! He just goes, ah! And it just comes into the camera. It's hilarious, but it's so bad. This is what Chris Stuckman would call a hilariosity. And also, for a first story of a season, and for sort of go a new era, first story in the 1980s, it looks very cheap. But that monster on the back, I've forgotten his name now, because it's so unmemorable. He looks alright. I like the head, but everything else, it just looks so cheap. Granted, the old age makeup effect on Tom Baker is actually quite good, but the aliens, what the hell were they thinking? This is 80s. It's just complete 80s here. What are they thinking? They look they just look awful. And going back to the production design again, it looks sort of like that generic white emotionless room you saw in the classic series, which, I can't really say anything because it was the classic series and that was kind of the norm then. But it just looks awful. It really, really does. Now, I must say the direction is quite good. It's directed by Lovett Bickford, And yes, it was probably because I did do that stupid long panning shot that I mentioned earlier. But at least it has some flair to it. It could have been worse. The direction could have just been completely, just not have a style to it. It could have just been really monotonous, which kind of adds something to the story. And the design of the city landscape is quite cool, I must admit. But yeah, Tom Baker tries his best here, and so does Lala Ward. In fact, no, she looks bored, to be honest. But Tom Baker does try his best. I think he knew it was a bad story, and just kind of tried to work around that, the terribleness of the script. And David Fisher, he's not a bad writer, but he really dropped the ball with this. You can tell that I haven't cared for this DVD as much as the others, because there's a massive scuff mark on the side. Which is a shame. You can tell that Season 18 was trying to be very scientific and very sort of complicated. That works in some stories. Like, I think it works well in Legopolis. Even then it can sometimes be a hindrance. But, like, here, it's just technobabble for the sake of technobabble and doesn't help me keep up with the very lackluster and confusing story. And actually, in concept, it's fairly good. I mean, the blurb at the back makes it seem really intriguing. I don't know if you can see that, but basically pause if you want to read it, like about there. But it makes it seem really intriguing. It's just in execution, it just falls apart, absolutely falls apart, and I don't know what went wrong. It's very, very, like, inconsistent as well. Yeah, I never got attached to any of the characters, I never got attached to their stories, I never got attached to Doctor's story in this. Everything just fell completely flat. And that's why Leisure Hive is possibly my least favourite story. I mean, Twin Dilemma's bad, I hate the Twin Dilemma with a passion, but at least, it has some colourful characters. At least it has some colourful locations. You got the Sixth Doctor in there hamming it up. At least it has that. This has nothing that I can see worth redeeming it beyond a 1 out of 10. It's so dull. It's so inconsistent. The execution is lackluster. The story is dull. It looks so cheap. The story is dull. This was clearly the era where they were using CSO a lot, because they use it a lot in here, and surprise, surprise, 1980, it fails. Yeah, don't watch The Leisure Hive. If you see it in the shop and think, oh, yeah, I would like to buy that because it's Tom Baker. Yeah, Tom's good in it. Please buy something else. Obviously, buy it for collection's sake like I did, but please don't feel like you need to go out and buy this, because it really is not good at all. Now, I apologise, this hasn't really been a Halloween special. I just call it a Halloween special because I wanted to rant about The Leisure Hive without doing a full-blown DVD review. And I just got this weird knockoff Heath Ledger mask from Poundland because I wanted to at least to make it relevant to Halloween. And I know I said I was going to release this on Halloween night, but then I realised it was only be relevant for one night, and, well, that's a bit pointless. So I decided to release it a few days earlier, but yeah, what are you going to do? I know this wasn't a very good review. It wasn't a very well done review. I just want to rant about The Leisure Hive, and I think I've got my anger out. It's safe to say I will not be watching this piece of crap for a long, long time. Yes. Happy Halloween, folks. Whoa.